official. Next Sunday at the Lincoln Financial Field, our Philadelphia Eagles will face off against the Minnesota Vikings. Wow, what a great game. What a great finish for the Minnesota Vikings against the New Orleans Saints, which was probably one of the best games in the playoffs so far. This is the team that I want to face. I want to face the other number one seed, because to be the best means you have to beat the best. And out of the NFC, the Vikings showed today that they are one of the best teams in the NFC. What a nail biter between the Saints and the Vikings, and it's weird because I had a feeling the Jaguars were going to win, but man, after that early lead in the first half, and then the late touchdown at the end of the second, the Steelers hung around, and then the Jaguars just took it to them. It was crazy. I didn't think that Blake Bortles was able to put up that much in numbers, and I mean, him and Big Ben threw for like over 1,000 yards combined. Like, it was crazy. And Fournette just pounded the ball even after getting injured, and they just showed resilience, and they got after Big Ben. And a lot of questionable play calling, a lot of questionable non-flags, non-nothing, but they let them play, let them do what they had to do. And the Jaguars are going to face the New England Patriots. Who would have thought? And I think that we're going to be surprised next week. I think that it's going to be a very, very good game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New England Patriots. And Jacksonville just... Everyone doubted Blake Bortles, and I still doubt Blake Bortles. I think that just the matchup between the Jaguars and the Steelers, I think that's just... Their defense has been carrying them all year long. I mean, Fournette has had injuries, and obviously the injuries to Allen Robinson. I believe he went out the first game of the year. Allen Hurns, who was one of their best receivers last year, he hasn't showed that much like bounce back ability, I guess. He hasn't really had that good of a year. A lot of guys stepped up. I mean, Marquise Lee had a decent year. Keelan Cole came late on, and Mercedes Lewis, who God, my nose is just running. It's so stuffy. I'm always sick when I do this. Right before I go live, my nose is fine, and as soon as I put the camera on, it's crazy. But yeah, but what a good game. I mean, Antonio Brown had such a good game, and I have so much respect for him. He does things that are just out of control. But yeah, Pittsburgh, you're knocked out, and I think that the Jaguars are going to put up a good game against the New England Patriots. That defense is just so resilient. I mean, from Calais Campbell to Marcel Darius, who, sorry, my nose is running crazy. From Calais Campbell to Marcel Darius, who was underperforming in Buffalo and then got moved to Jacksonville, and he's playing very, very well under Doug Marrone. And it's just crazy that they put up 10 points against the Buffalo Bills defense and then come out and score 45 points against the Steelers in Heinz Field. Like, that's crazy. It's insane. But I'm going to go back to the Vikings and Saints game, but man, Drew Brees looked really, really bad in the first half. And Case Keenum had some nice throws. Adam Thielen is to be an undrafted guy. He's crazy. I mean, he's at top of the leaderboards and almost every wide receiver category. And Stephon Diggs, man, that last play to Diggs, oh my God. Oh God, as the time expired. Wow, what a great game. And this is what makes me love football. Aside from the non-calls and how the refs just are fucking shit up left and right, and man, there were so many things wrong with this game, from the spots to play calling. It was insane. I mean, the Vikings defense really showed that they are one of the best defenses in the league. I mean, from Xavier Rhodes to Eric Kendricks to all the defensive line, they really took it to them, and they held Kamara, they held Mark Ingram. I mean, Michael Thomas had a couple good plays here and there, but wow, and the way the Saints Vikings game, it started out the same way the Steelers and Jaguars game. They both went up. One team went up by a lot, and then by the second quarter, the other team came back. And I think that Sean Payton made a lot of adjustments in the second half, and they came out swinging, and they had a couple really, really good drives. And man, Drew Brees looked uncomfortable in the pocket, but on the other side is that Case Keenum looked very, very like decent in the pocket, and they were talking about sitting if Case Keenum didn't have a good game. They were talking about bringing Sam Bradford in. Oh my God, Case Keenum got you to this position, and if I was Mike Zimmer, I'd have no doubt to play Case Keenum the whole entire game, no matter what happened, and between Latavius Murray and Jerick McKinnon played very, very well. Kyle Rudolph had some very good crucial catches, but wow, to think that it's crazy because the four quarterbacks, I'm going everywhere. My mind's going everywhere. I just watched the Eagles game again, and it's just crazy. The four quarterbacks in next week's game is Tom Brady, Case Keenum, Nick Foles, and Blake Bortles. I mean, it's crazy because as of right now, I'm just assuming that everyone thinks that New England is the favorite. But I think that this Jacksonville Jaguars team is the recipe. They have the recipe. They have the run game. I think they can go in to Foxborough and beat them next week. And I love that we're the late game because we'll be able to see if we win, we'll be able to tell who we're playing. We'll be able to see who we were playing if we end up advancing. And it's going to be a long, long week for Eagle fans because we're going to be so excited and we're going to want to get back into there and we're going to want to play. And but just the playoffs have been excellent. This has been one of my favorite playoffs to watch. I mean, from Tennessee coming all the way back to beat Kansas City, from the Jacksonville-Buffalo game. It's been a wild, wild playoffs, and I'm super, super excited. I mean, Atlanta coming through and going to Los Angeles and beating them, it's crazy. It really, really is. And just the NFL, like I said, this year is definitely one of my favorite playoffs because there's just so many teams that haven't been there in so long. I mean, Tennessee hasn't been there in so long. Jacksonville hasn't been there for so long. The Eagles haven't been there in so long. The Vikings haven't been there in so long. I mean, it's cool to see the Steelers not in it, the Saints not in it, the Falcons not in it, and we have the Vikings next week at home, and this is the best matchup that I think that the Eagles could have. I think that we would have trouble against the Saints. I'm not gonna lie. I think we'd have trouble against the Saints. I think we can match up really well against the Minnesota Vikings. I really, really do. I'm almost definite that we can stop that run game. I mean, we held Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman, I believe, maybe like a total of 60, 70 yards. I might be overtaking it a little bit, but I mean, we held Julio Jones, who's one of the best receivers in the league, to 100 yards, and I know we have to worry about Adam Thielen, and I know we have to worry about Stephon Diggs, but I feel like with our defensive line and how well they've been playing, I feel like our defensive line is a lot better than the Saints' defensive line, and I feel like that Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and our linebackers and everybody on that line and all the linebackers, I think we are going to be able to get to the quarterback because the Saints really didn't get to Case Keenum that much. So I feel like we're going to be able to get to them, and we're just going to put Case Keenum. He hasn't been in this type of environment before, and yes, he's going to come into next week with a chip on their shoulder. I think we're an underdog again, which is exactly what I want. I love being the underdog. I'm super, super excited about that because, once again, the Eagles will show that they are resilient and they are able to do things and win. Okay? I know we're going to be able to stop the run game. Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs are our two biggest concerns, and obviously that defense. We have to go against Xavier Rhodes, and it's gonna be a tough matchup at home. But I feel like we will get the win at home. I'm super excited. I'm literally gonna go back, and I might even watch the Eagles game again because I'm super excited that we went and we beat the Atlanta Falcons, and now I'm gonna focus on the Minnesota Vikings. So enjoy it, guys. It's the NFL. It's the playoffs. Enjoy yourselves and go Birds.